Hello once again, this is the North Shore Station, Season 2, Episode 7, 7.5, 7.2, I don't know, Episode 7, 2.0 we'll say. Last week had a little bit of technical difficulties, 100% on me, folks. Messed up a little bit on the audio board.
Well, that was a group mistake. That was a group effort.
I'll shoulder the blame.
All right.
It was on me, audio board malfunction. I'm Lucas Strazio, here with Dom Farrow. Here with Camden back there behind the glass on the ones and twos, our guy. Like I said.
Before we jump into it, just a quick shout out. We had a Zoom guest last week, Carter Graham.
Yes.
He gave us some great content. Unfortunately, no audio from him. But shout out for him for being back on. We'll have him on again in the future. So.
Yeah, Grim was a great guest.
Go follow him on Twitch. He's a Twitch streamer. It's Grimmy TV. I believe that's the number.
Twitch, Twitter,
Grimmy 53 maybe.
Give Grim a lot of follows. Appreciate having him on. Feel bad we wasted his time, but he'll be back on for sure. Real knowledgeable guest. Knows what he's talking about. Anyway, Season 6 of the NFL, Week 6 of the NFL just occurred. A lot went down, and we're going to jump right into our biggest winners and losers.
Yep.
Biggest winner, Dom, go ahead. It's an AFC rival biggest winner for you this week.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but it is the Baltimore Ravens. Week 1, they took the loss there early, and I thought that this team wasn't that good. They had a lot of injuries coming into the season, losing J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, and their team is just so much based on that running game. But Lamar Jackson, he's looking even better than he did in his MVP season. Will he be able to keep it up? That's a good question. I'm not so sure about that. But 5 wins in a row, top of the AFC North, a great start. If they want to win this division, this is how they envision this season to start, especially with all the pieces they have missing. Ravens are definitely the team to beat in the AFC North at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, they're leading the AFC North right now. Bengals are close behind, then the Browns, then the Steelers. I think the Browns and Steelers are technically tied right now at 3-3. I
think the tiebreaker, the Steelers are in third.
Have we had any divisional games? I can't
No, I think this week will be the first with Ravens and Bengals, though.
Yeah, that's right. Ravens and Bengals this week. Looking forward to that. It's going to be a good one. Good AFC North divisional clash. Should be good. Camden, behind the glass, biggest winner of the week. Let's hear it.
Biggest winner of the week. I mean, honestly, there's not too many, in my opinion. I think, this kind of week kind of went scripted how it should, except for, a couple mismatches here and there. But I had the Vikings pulling one out against the Carolina Panthers in overtime. I think it's just a big win because you saw a lot of pieces on that team wake up, the biggest being, somebody who I used to support, Kirk Cousins. I think he had the most fantasy points this week out of all quarterbacks. He's been the guy that kind of, is the big question mark for the Vikings here as of the past couple years. And, I think if they really want to take that leap to be a contending team, he's going to have to play like every game like he did this one. And they beat no slouch in the Panthers. No McCaffrey, but Chuba Hubbard looks like he can hold it down well enough. Darnold looks terrible. I have him in fantasy, which is a big L for me. He has been playing terrible as of once his hype got up, but still a great defense over there in Carolina, and the Vikings put 34 on him. So I think they deserve some props for that win.
I don't think they're a big threat at this moment. The Panthers are on a bit of a skid here. 3 losses in a row after starting off 3-0. Same with the Broncos. I was thinking about putting the Panthers or Broncos as my biggest loser because of that hot start they got off to. The Vikings, I just don't know how I feel about this team. Yeah, they got these weapons in Justin Jefferson and Thielen, and Dalvin Cook, when he's not hurt, he's a stud too. But what is this Vikings team really competing for this season? They're not going to be able to do anything.
See, I think Camden kind of hit it on the head. I think they're all right. I think they're in a really tough division, obviously, so it's going to be tough either way. But I mean, I could see them being a wild card team. It seems like the last couple of years.
Is it a tough division though?
No, not
you
really.
got the Bears and the Lions, other than the Packers.
Just because of the Packers, it's a tough division to win.
Yeah.
Anytime you got Aaron Rodgers in your division, it's going to be tough to win the division. That's why I can see them being a playoff team in the wild card. Like you said, they play the Bears and the Lions 2 times a year. That could be 4 wins.
Should be.
Not that hard. I mean, of course, like I always say, when it's a divisional game, the records go out the window. it's going to be a hard-fought match no matter what, especially when you see a team 2 times a year. But I think Cam said it right. I mean, the question for this Vikings team the last couple of years, it seems like has been the quarterback position. I mean, you go back to the last time that they were close to the Super Bowl, they had Case Keenum as their quarterback, and that was kind of their biggest weak spot, when they had the Minneapolis Miracle with Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, I guess they're close.
That was a while ago now, I guess.
I was thinking like Brett Favre, honestly, and that was even longer ago.
Yeah,
they were a play away from making the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah, true, exactly. But, I mean, you look at everything else, they have weapons, like you said, Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen. They got good guys, and I think that even behind Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson, they have a good receiver core. It's just that inconsistency of play at the quarterback position, which is kind of what we're seeing in Cleveland right now, unfortunately. I'll get to them. But yeah, the Vikings, I think they can be a good team. And like Cam said, if Kirk Cousins can play like this every week, and every week he's walking off the field saying, you like that, they could be a dangerous team, Dom.
I'm just saying I wouldn't be worried. I would be – well, obviously the Steelers wouldn't play them in the playoffs, but let's say in some scenario they were an AFC team. I would never be scared the Steelers going up against them in the playoffs.
I wouldn't be scared, especially because of the way they played against the Browns. I mean, they put up 7 points.
Yeah.
But like I said, the inconsistency, the things they can do when they're
on. You never know what Vikings team you're getting.
Like you said, Cam, a good team in the Carolina Panthers. I think they could be all right. Another kind of inconsistent team is my biggest winner this week is the Cowboys. Cowboys looked really good. It looked for a while like the Patriots were going to come away with it. Yeah. Mac Jones looked really good in this game. A lot of points scored in this one. Went to OT, 35-29. Cowboys come away with it in overtime with the touchdown. And, I mean, one thing that's going to have them as my biggest winner of the week is Trayvon Diggs. I mean, how can you not talk about this guy right now? 7 picks, 6 games. I mean, it's only his second year.
He's also allowed more yards in these first 6 weeks than Stephon Gilmore did when he won Defensive Player of the Year.
That's true.
So yardage-wise, he's not really that good of a cornerback. That's the only reason why I'd say he's not the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year. I'd still put Aaron Donald, T.J. Watt ahead of him at this moment.
Myles Garrett.
And Myles Garrett's I'd put him ahead too. But yeah, Trayvon Diggs he's playing amazing. He gets the ball every single game.
Yeah,
he's having a hell of a season. The ending of that game was crazy, though.
Yeah, very. I mean, you have the pick 6 by him to take it back, and they take the lead.
The very next play, 75-yard bomb.
Right back, Patriots retake the lead. Mac Jones, they come down, get a field goal, send it in OT. It was a great game overall, yeah. I mean, but
CD's overtime winner, where he waved in his face at the end. Did you see that? That was
pretty
awesome.
That was pretty big time. But
CD's the man.
I think the Cowboys, Dak looks like with Dak, this offense looks very, very legit.
Yeah.
They look like they have it together. I mean,
I do think they're Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie.
35 points is nothing to scoff at. And I mean, one of them was a defensive touchdown, like I said, with Trayvon Diggs. But Zeke looks a lot better this year. Pollard looks really good when he gets in there with Zeke. CeeDee Lamb looks like a stud. Amari Cooper is looking really good again. Both their tight ends are healthy again now. Yeah, Dalton Schultz was one of the injuries last year that didn't really get talked about because it was overshadowed by the Dak injury and Ezekiel Elliott not playing good. First game of the year, he got hurt and he was out for the whole season. And no one really talked about it after week 2 or 3 because of Dak's injury. So I think this offense looks amazingly good right now. It's scary. We talked about whether or not their defense can get it together now. New defensive coach and who is it? I want to say
Dan Quinn.
Yeah, Dan Quinn. I was going to say Dan Campbell. I know that wasn't right. But Dan Quinn, yeah. And I mean, right now they look like they got it together a little bit more. Yeah. So they're my biggest winner of week 6. No, 5, 6. Yes.
6.
Week 6 just happened, like I said.
Who's your biggest loser?
Going into biggest loser, I don't want to start it, to be honest. I will if you guys want me to, but it's going to be hard to talk about it because my biggest loser is the Browns. And I think one thing, I mean, of course, you can always make the excuse we have a lot of injuries. Both of our starting tackles were out in that game.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb, 3rd in the league, I think, in rushing coming into this week, didn't play. Kareem Hunt's no slouch at backup, but he gets hurt.
Still no Jarvis.
Kareem Hunt, like I said, he exited the game, but it was in the 3rd or 4th quarter. Game was already over. Jadeveon Clowney's coming off an injury. He was banged up. Greg Newsome coming off an injury, our rookie corner. Denzel Ward doesn't play for most of the game. We got a lot of guys out. Troy Hill's kind of in and out of there again because he's injured. You look at the injury list for the Browns and it just goes on and on and on. But like I said, that's no excuse if you want to be a Super Bowl winning team, if you want to be a top-tier team in this league, and that's what the Browns seem to want to do. Baker Mayfield, I know Cam's going to get on me because he's looked bad the last couple weeks. He's playing with the torn labrum, but again, that's no excuse. He wants to be the guy who plays with a chip on his shoulder. He wants to be the guy who this week, like he said, we like when our backs are up against the wall. You haven't done anything with your backs up against the wall. Yeah. It's been really bad. I'm not going to lie. I hate hating on the Browns because obviously I'm a lifelong Browns fan. I've seen it when it's 0-16. I've seen it when it's 1-15, and I'd rather have it like we have now. Mm-hmm. So I see a lot of Browns fans saying, like, how can you take Baker Mayfield for granted? We've seen what we had before. We had Brandon Weeden. We had other terrible quarterbacks. Yeah, we have high expectations for Baker Mayfield because we think he's a good quarterback. We're not hating on him because we think he sucks. I mean, sometimes he looks like he sucks, but the reason we hate on him so much and talk about him so much, and he's the topic of conversation, is because he has expectations. Mm-hmm. He comes in with all that he has, the whole Heisman and everything on his resume. He's going to have high expectations, and that's why he's going to be held to a higher standard. And he just hasn't lived up to it. Last week was one thing with the Chargers. I mean, he put up 42 points, which is big, but he still really didn't look that great, honestly.
Yeah, but this game he looked bad.
Yeah,
last week
very bad.
No
the week
turnovers.
Before too.
I wouldn't say he looked bad against the Chargers though.
Well, I'm saying the week before that against the Vikings,
okay,
he only put up 14 points. Came off one of his worst performances as a Brown, and then he puts up another one of his worst performances as a professional athlete.
He just doesn't have that it factor to win it by himself. Patrick Mahomes, sometimes he has that ability where he can just take over and win the game for the team. I don't ever see that happening with Baker Mayfield, but the pieces around him are good. If they stay healthy moving into the playoffs, everyone's recovered, I'd still like the Browns' chances against a lot of teams in the NFL. Camden, your biggest loser?
Oh, man, here we go.
Another rant coming in from a homer right now.
This might be my last one. Oh, man. Where do I even begin? All right. So for those who aren't aware of my sports favorites, for lack of a better term, I'm an Orioles fan for baseball. Been poverty for the last how many years? Since I was like 10 years old was the last time they made the playoffs. I'm a Sixers fan, which witnessed the worst regular season in NBA history. And I'm Washington, who has also been poverty for the past how long. But through all of that, I have never been this close to leaving a team in my life.
Jeez. I mean, Camden, you went to a Steelers game last night. I think
did.
You've already,
it was electric.
Seems like you've already given up.
I have been to, that was the second NFL stadium I've ever been in. I've been to FedEx a couple times, and the energy in Heinz Field is a million times more than
because it's the
FedEx.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
It was like,
about the Washington football team.
Like nobody in FedEx cares. Like
y'all could be an XFL
you're watching
team
an orchestra.
People wouldn't care.
It's like everybody just sits there. But we all know on the field's horrible. Offense can't move the ball. Defense can't stop anybody. Our only bright spot on the team is the punter. That's the only bright spot we have on the field. On the field isn't the problem. It's the front office that really has things unbelievably frustrated right now. The thing with John Gruden comes out, obviously is tied with Washington somehow, with Bruce Allen and all that jazz. Washington is, they're not in the fire, but they're pretty close to becoming in the fire.
You have to imagine that there has to be something out there that they haven't been caught with yet because of this Sean Taylor retirement thing. Sean Taylor's brother didn't know until 3 days before the game that his brother's jersey was going to be retired. That's just disgraceful.
Well, Washington was
what kind of organization does that?
Jason Wright was claiming that this was planned months in advance.
I don't believe it.
Sean Taylor's brother's going on podcasts and being like, "Nah, I just found out 4 days ago."
It's messed up.
You got
Jackson Mahomes able to walk in there.
Yeah, that's a whole different story. I'm getting there.
They got that area. They got his number roped off on the field, and they got him doing TikToks on there. Does this organization have any class?
No, they don't. That's the problem. You have been going through. You have a corrupt owner who you've wanted out for years. You can't get him out. because you've already taken his privileges away, which you then just gave them to his wife. So his wife's essentially just a puppet. He's just telling her what to do, and she's just doing it herself. So he's still making the decisions. You have a cheerleading scandal that you've been going on for the past year or so now, where you got glass steps in your clubhouse where you're watching cheerleaders go up the stairs and stuff.
What the heck?
And then you're paying. There's reports that you're paying them to be quiet about it and all that garbage. And then you use probably the player in your entire franchise history that people love the most, whose number should have been retired freaking 7, 8, 10 years ago, and you're using that to disguise and distract everybody from all the rest of the crap that's going on in the organization.
It's a joke.
It's bigger than a joke. It's like it's like you said. Where is the class? Like, how did you expect that to go over?
Yeah, and I'm not mad about Jackson. Well, I'm upset that Jackson Mahomes is dancing on, but I'm not upset at Jackson Mahomes because there's no way he just decided he was going to walk over this gated off or whatever it was. It was meant for people not to walk on there, but there's no doubt in my mind that someone within the organization was like, hey, why don't you stand up on this area that's roped off and do a little TikTok dance?
Well, I'm not as mad at Jackson Mahomes as other people are. I'm more mad at Washington for it, first off. Does Jackson Mahomes need to know better? Like, does he need to use common sense and say,
there's no way he knew
dance
who
on
Sean
this?
Taylor was?
Yeah, but the roped off thing, it was like a VIP area kind of thing. So that's where they were told to stand. But Washington had to know he was going to dance, but he still doesn't need to. Both of the parties are in the wrong in that. I'm not, that's just a crappy situation.
It does seem like people are more upset or were more upset with Juju dancing on logos than they were with Patrick Mahomes' brother dancing on a deceased football player whose number was getting retired that day, which is just absurd to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's beyond a mess, and it's beyond what I couldn't care less what happens on the field, for the rest of the year. It's like I told my buddy Brian the other day, I was like, even if they go out and beat the Chiefs today, it's like, what does it matter? Like, yeah, it would have been good to get a win on the day you retire Sean Taylor's jersey, but nothing in this organization is moving forward at all. We have the lowest attendance in the league by a lot. Nobody's going to the games, which I don't blame people for not supporting the team. But at the end of the day, that doesn't really solve anything. We just running away from all the problems. I'm on the fence of just what to do. Like, how can I wear a Washington jersey in public when they're paying women who were mistreated money to be quiet? Like, it's unbelievable. I mean, I almost really lost it when I saw on, I don't know if it was Twitter or something, they were selling, after they announced the Sean Taylor thing, and I got really upset about that. They released that they were selling rally towels and stuff for it, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. If they're profiting off this, I'm done. But then I saw it was all going to Sean Taylor's charity or something, so I was like, all right, Washington did it good there. But no, I mean, it's such a mess right now on the field, but that's not even remotely the important part. It's the front office and all the mess that's going on there, and the manipulation of the most beloved player in the franchise history for a distraction has got me very close to not becoming a Steelers fan, but Washington slowly drawing backwards.
So who would be your next team then?
I don't know. I got to take applications.
Right.
I don't know.
You can think about it.
If it gets, I mean, I really don't want to go anywhere. I mean, I've been through it all, like I said, with every team I've ever watched. I watched the Sixers become good. I watched the Orioles become good in 2013 and then become cheap and not pay and become poverty again, all that jazz. Washington's the only team I haven't seen really get to a spot where they've been competitive yet. So, I mean, I really want to stick with this team, but, I mean, it's more on a moral standpoint at this point. It's like it's hard to support the things that they're doing.
Well, I don't know how I follow up with my biggest loser after these two guys. I'm happy with my Pittsburgh Steelers. Shout out TJ Watt. But my biggest loser of the week is the Miami Dolphins. it's just with Tua being back, you thought that they'd have a chance, especially against the Jaguars, who lost their 20 games in a row. They finally pick one up here against the Dolphins. The Dolphins just do not have a good team. They got a good coach. I think so. I always thought so. Tua is just not the man. I just don't think lefty quarterbacks belong in the NFL. Do you think a lefty quarterback will ever be able to do anything in the NFL?
I don't know if it has anything to do with him being a lefty, actually, but I don't know. I mean, there's a little bit of a transition that the team has to make,
because the only person who's good when Tua's playing is Waddle, the guy who played with him for 4 years at Alabama.
That's true. I don't know if that has any.
that.
You think that has a correlation to his handedness?
I don't know. Maybe. Like, don't you think there's a different release from a lefty quarterback compared to a righty?
Personally, I had my junior and senior year in high school. My junior year, I had a righty, and my senior year, I had a lefty. Mm-hmm. So the ball spins a little bit different.
Yeah.
Personally, I actually liked the lefty more.
Interesting.
I thought now that could be the quarterbacks themselves. I thought he had a little more touch. I liked catching it a little bit more. I don't know what it was. Maybe we just had more chemistry, whatever. But shout out to Ryan. This is his dad's shirt, actually, the lefty quarterback's dad's shirt. But so I mean, I don't know. Maybe different people have different preferences, but I like the lefty quarterback. When we would do 7-on-7s and they switched from one to the other, I didn't really notice it that much, to be honest. So I don't think there was that big of a difference when I would catch it. But
I just don't want to blame it all on Tua. I want because he was such a stud in college. He was just a winner.
I think he was a very good player. Obviously, I mean he was on Alabama. I mean he's got the best weapons around him. AJ McCarron looked like a stud in college too.
True.
And then what did he do in the NFL? Nothing.
Tua seemed different though.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't know. I don't know if Tua's going to make it. I think he's the weak link of that quarterback class. Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, him. I think he's maybe. I would say he's the Phillip Rivers maybe of that Ben Roethlisberger.
If he has a career like
Eli
Phillip
Manning,
Rivers,
Phillip Rivers.
that's
Yeah,
pretty
but
good.
still no Super Bowl win.
Yeah.
All right in the regular season, but
I think we might have said the same thing.
yeah, I
last
think
year
we have said this
before they
before,
played.
but
Do you guys think they should have stayed at 3 and went I'm completely blanking on the team that did it the year before, but you draft a quarterback and then you draft one the following year.
Cardinals.
Should they have stayed at? Yeah, the Cardinals with Kyler Murray.
They should have traded him when his stock was at its most high. Now they aren't going to get as much value as they'd want out of him. So I don't know. Maybe draft another quarterback. They're sitting at 1-5 right now. They're probably going to be last in the AFC East. So I'm not sure, but they're my biggest loser for sure. It seems like the window is closing on them to have a good season. Other storylines from the NFL: DK Metcalf versus Shannon Sharp. I mean, that was just weird. I don't. Whose side are you on, DK or Shannon?
I mean, DK obviously made a bad decision. Should have run out of bounds. We talked about that. I mean, probably. I won't say cost them the game, but would have given them a lot better chance to win the game. They were in field goal range. Could have kicked it to win it right there in regulation.
No, they got the field goal off.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, to tie it, to send it into overtime, which was just a ridiculous play call. I've never seen Mike Tomlin more upset in my life. So they got that play off to DK Metcalf. The clock's still running because he didn't get out of bounds. They go up to the line. There's the time has already expired in the stadium. It says 0 seconds left. Then they spike the ball. And then they say the play prior is under review. How are you going to review a play that happened 2 plays ago? Mike Tomlin was like,
bad.
This makes no sense. I don't believe this. This is BS. And they ended up giving them 3 seconds. They spiked the ball again, and then they kicked the field goal to send it into overtime. Luckily, TJ Watt is the greatest defensive player in the league, getting that forced fumble at the end to set Chris Boswell up, the second best kicker in the league, to get the Steelers to win.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, though, DK boneheaded play, but then, I mean, Shannon Sharp, it's not like he even really went at him that much. It's not like he said, oh, DK's an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, he just kind of said, like, what's he doing?
Yeah.
He didn't, like, call him out personally, I guess. And then just all the beef that goes on and stuff, like, between that, and it's like, I think some guys are a little too prideful. I think you got to be able to recognize and just say, yeah, I messed up, and I'm lucky that we got the field goal off in the end. But
that first tweet from Shannon, it's like, yeah, that's like an analyst's job to like say this type of thing. What was he doing? What was going through his mind? But then the second tweet when DK said, "Stop questioning me, little boy," Shannon Sharp basically called him a dumbass. And what analyst can get away with that other than Shannon Sharp?
Not many, I guess. I mean, that's kind of what he does on Undisputed. And I think that's kind of his brand is the guy who smokes Black and Milds on TV and is going to be out there and drink Hennessy. And I mean, more power to him because that's who he's been his whole career in the NFL and now on TV. He's a loudmouth guy who's going to tell you what he thinks. So I really if he can say that and get away with it, which he's gonna, I doubt he's gonna lose his job or anything over it because
it's not like he's Paul
any
Pierce
press. Yeah, I mean, at this point,
Live.
just about any press is good press when you're a media member like that, as long as you're not saying anything, racist or misogynistic or being a bigot. I mean, I think more power to him basically to say it. So. I don't know. I just think it's kind of unnecessary.
He's doing
he's doing his job. He's creating buzz around the NFL.
And DK, it seemed like he realized that he was in the wrong there. He ended up tweeting, "You know what? You're right at Shannon Sharp. I do pray my resume can match up with yours. #work in progress, baby."
That was his PR team.
His PR
team came in and was like, no.
I've been there. I've been there on Twitter having beef with somebody and just snapped on them. And then realized, whoa, I shouldn't have said that, deleted some of those tweets. But with him, he can't just delete tweets and, get away with it. He kind of had to say something.
No, I think his PR team went, let's go on Pro Football Reference here. Shannon Sharp, Hall of Famer, 8-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro, 3-time Super Bowl champ, Hall of Fame All-1990s team, and one of the greatest tight ends of all time. And you're telling this guy you're going to wipe his ass with you're going to wipe your ass with his resume? Mm-hmm. I mean,
it was bold.
Boneheaded.
Yeah. I mean, DK's not the smartest guy in the world, but.
Clearly.
Camden, how was Heinz Field last night? How was the Steelers game?
Heinz Field was, it's like I said, it was that felt like the first real NFL game I was at. It was electric.
How was Renegade?
What do you mean by that?
When it goes black. And they play the song Renegade.
Oh.
The big screen gets. You missed it.
Oh,
you missed Renegade.
Right before overtime?
Yeah.
Oh,
that was
okay.
the first
no,
time they've
ever
hype. Played Renegade in overtime. I don't
that
know
was
what they're
that
doing.
was super hype.
But that always gets the crowd bumping.
Yeah. No, it was electric in there for sure. There was a couple Seahawks fans sprinkled in, but nothing crazy. Steelers fans are passionate and they showed it. The wave while that guy got injured was pretty bad.
That was really embarrassing. I do feel like a lot of people at those games aren't smart enough to realize, there are every single player's in the middle of the field. Something's actually serious. People get hurt occasionally, and they'll walk off the field, but you knew something was different when you saw everybody off the sidelines seeing what was going on with this guy. I just feel like some Yinzers are a little bit. They aren't the smartest people, so doing the wave there was just embarrassing. Not a good look.
Well, it's like you texted me when I texted you about it. You were like, Steelers fans should know better with what they had with Shazier a couple years ago.
Yeah, I mean they saw what happened with Shazier. That's no joke. It was the worst injury ever. And basically a similar injury happens there, and you guys are doing the wave. I hate the wave in general, if I'm keeping it real, but especially in that moment, just a boneheaded.
Who hates the wave?
Bad. The wave is the worst.
No,
I'm here to watch a game. I'm not here to do dances with the crowd.
You hate that's not even a dance. You just stand up. You don't even have to stand up. Just go like that. Just throw your arms up.
During the game, it's ridiculous. During an intermission,
I love
doing
the wave.
Nah.
At baseball games when it's
baseball
the best,
games,
it's the 6th inning. You're 3 beers deep and you're just bored. But
baseball games, I'm fine with the wave. Hockey, football, ban the wave.
I don't know about that. I like that. I think the wave is one of the oldest forms of bringing a whole stadium together for one common cause. I feel like that shows a good fan base, personally. Not during that moment, obviously, but the wave in general.
Let's talk about one more storyline, and then let's just go into our locks of the week. We're gonna skip the Week 7 preview. The games aren't super interesting this week. Nothing really stands out. We'll just give you the locks of the week here. Here's a question for you guys. Who is the best, and give me your worst, one-loss team in the NFL? We got the Packers, the Bills, who are playing right now. They could lose their second. We're recording this on Monday. Again, they're playing the Titans. Cowboys, Rams, Ravens, and Buccaneers. Who is the best out of those 6 teams? Lucas.
The Bills are currently losing by 4 to the Titans, 17-13. 2 minutes remaining. 2-minute warning just hit in the first half.
2-minute warning.
2-minute warning.
That ain't happening.
But, I mean, the Packers look really good now. Week 1 was clearly kind of a fluke. I think Aaron Rodgers had a lot in the offseason coming in, and then there's a little bit of a distraction for not only him but for the whole team. They've seemed to have gotten it back together, especially in Chicago now, yelling that he owns them.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Which I don't know how that's not a taunting, by the way. We're throwing all these taunting flags, and then the NFL itself tweets out a video of Aaron Rodgers screaming, I own you. So I'm not positive which way the NFL is leaning or what, but whatever. Packers are really good. I mean, any team that has Aaron Rodgers is really good. Bills are looking really good. I still think their offense is a little bit inconsistent. Kind of, again, depends who shows up for the Bills. Cowboys, like I said, offense has got it going. Defense a little bit more. You mentioned Trayvon Diggs, the yards he's given up earlier. I meant to say, I saw a tweet today that said Trayvon Diggs is the Jameis Winston of cornerbacks. 30-30.
But he is better than that, Jameis.
No, he's definitely very legit. Rams, I don't know. The Rams are a little bit haven't really proven themselves to me too much yet.
Like
I still think they're really good, but I mean, of this group, I didn't say the Ravens and Bucks. Those are the only two I didn't say. Of this group, the Rams might be the worst.
Really?
Honestly,
I was thinking about the best.
I'd say the Bills. I would say Bills are the worst, not because when they're at their best, they're not the worst. When they're at their best, they might be the best. But the inconsistency still scares me with the Bills. I don't think they can every single time show up and give you the same product. I think when they give you their best product, they're one of the best products in the league.
Yeah.
Like I said, but it's just that inconsistency that scares me away from them. And I'll say the Bills for my worst.
Okay.
Best. It's hard to look away from Tom Brady and the Bucs. I mean, they just seem to have it rolling right now. I mean, Tom Brady came into this week leading the league in in passing yards at 41 years old now. 42. 44 years old.
Right.
Is leading the league in passing yards after 5 weeks.
Yeah, dude's unreal.
It's hard to look away from them. I think I'll probably have to say Bucs are the best.
Interesting. You were talking a little bit trash on the Rams. I'd say the Rams are the best one-loss team out of this group. The defense is the best in the league. You got Matt Stafford out there with weapons galore. I wish they had a really solid running back. They'd be easily number one. I think they'd be undefeated at this point if that was the case.
That's where I'm.
Darrell Henderson is kind of a good running back, though. He's good enough.
No, yeah, he's good enough to have them going. I think that's why they're above the Bills to me, is because their running attack is better than the Bills is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not completely sold on the Rams. I do like the Rams a lot.
I really like Stafford a lot.
I'm just not completely sold on them.
I like Stafford.
Oh, I
Rams
do too.
Jersey.
I've loved
Cooper
Stafford.
Kupp. That connection is just nasty. Yeah, I'd say Rams are the best. I'd put Cowboys up there too. I mean, all these teams are just so good. If I had to pick the worst team out of these, and I hate to say it because I'm such a big Aaron Rodgers fan, but it is the Packers, I think. I just don't think their defense matches up with any of these teams. They don't have a Trayvon Diggs on a team. They don't have one guy who's going to make big plays every week. So that's the only thing I think holding the Packers back at the moment. And really, other than Devontae Adams, they don't really have any receiving threats. Nothing quite like the rest of these teams in here that have multiple wide receivers. I mean, Ravens, you could say that they definitely have the worst wide receivers out of these groups, but they got Lamar Jackson who can do whatever they want. They're primarily a running team.
But that's where the Packers make up for it to me is Aaron Rodgers, his whole career has shown you can pick 5 guys out of the stands, and he'll probably still throw for 200 yards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's why the fact that he's throwing to Allen Lazard and Marquez Valdez-Scantling doesn't matter. And I think those guys are honestly pretty good receivers. Yeah. They're not top-end receivers. They're not Devontae Adams, and they're not A.B. and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. But I still think they're a good, solid, well-rounded receiver core. Camden, what do you think? Who's the best and worst one-loss team?
Guys, the worst is Dallas.
No, I disagree.
I don't know.
Look,
I disagree. You got Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, and CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, that's great and all, but 31 to the Bucks in a loss. 17 to the Chargers, you barely win.
It's pretty
21 to Philadelphia.
Not bad.
28 to the Panthers, to Sam Darnold and the Panthers.
Yeah.
20 to the abysmal New York Giants. and 29 you squeak out a win against the Patriots. Yeah, the offense is there.
They still
the
have
defense
the
is
least
just
points.
not good enough.
They still have the least points scored against them in that division.
Look at the division.
Yeah, but it's not like
Look
they're
at it.
horrible. It's not like they're putting up the most points in the league, or they're letting up the most points every week.
No, but
They're getting it done.
And other than the Buccaneers, who they lost to, and the Chargers, they haven't beat a good team. They haven't played a good team. They're going to get the Chiefs here coming soon. They're going to get the Broncos who are going to give them trouble.
No. They're smoking.
You got the Cardinals later in the year. It's got to be Dallas has got to be the worst. And I'm not trying to be a hater here, but we got to get off the Trayvon Diggs hype train here. They're throwing at him for a reason. The dude blows coverages. They're throwing at him for a reason. He's getting picks for a reason.
I agree. I mean, I think obviously the yards thing is a concern.
But
at the same time, I mean, what's one of the stats you see? I mean, obviously yards given up is a stat you see at the end of the game, but what's one that's always highlighted is turnover differential. I mean, getting the ball back to your offense in a plus position on the field is almost like, I'll give up 100 yards receiving a game if we're going to get a pick.
Yeah.
If we're almost guaranteed a pick. I mean, obviously nothing's guaranteed. He's got to earn it, but still.
But you can't get a pick six and then overplay Kadarius Toney or whoever that receiver was.
Oh, that wasn't on him.
He overplayed him like crazy.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that
but
was
still,
completely
he's got to
fault.
be there.
That was Kendrick Bourne.
He wasn't running down to guard nobody. He still overplayed it like crazy. The safety was late. The safety was backup help.
I would
Trayvon
say
Diggs still should have been there. He overplayed it because he's
the thing to me
wants
is
to get as
that
many
I think the
interceptions
safety,
as possible.
I don't even think the safety played it terribly
don't even
on
think
his
he was supposed to
angle
be
and
there.
everything. He was there. He was there to make the play, and then just when the ball came, he didn't make the play. So I mean, I don't know. I feel like when the safety doesn't make a play at the point of attack at the ball, it's kind of not on the I don't know.
I would say 90% of NFL defensive backs never get 7 interceptions in their career.
I'm not sitting here trying to say that Trayvon Diggs is bad or anything. I'm just saying that, it's like nobody was talking about Jameis Winston for Offensive Player of the Year when he
was.
How many interceptions? Well,
I was.
Yeah, well.
Well, I'm not debating you too much about the Cowboys being the worst out of these teams because these are such good teams. But who's your biggest? Who's the best out of these teams?
Oh, the best is tough. I think that's something that's going to have to be figured out here once we get moving. I mean, right now I think you have to say the Bills. I mean, in the regular season, the no running game, it doesn't hurt them as much. But once we get to the playoffs, they're going to have to get something. And it's the same thing that I preached on last year. They don't even try. Like, their running backs are getting 10, 15 carries a game. And, they're able to pass the ball like they can in the regular season. But in the playoffs, it gets a little more difficult. And so I think you'd have to say them right now. I think Baltimore is proving, I think Lamar is proving, like you said about Patrick Mahomes, Lamar can get in that situation where he can just take over the game and win it by himself. So I think Baltimore and the Bills are the front runners up there right now. I think the Rams, it's just it's just little mistakes from the Rams. I think they're still a good team, but I think they gotta Robert Woods has got to get more involved.
Yeah.
I mean, Cooper Kupp's been a stud. I mean, Darrell Henderson, that's like you said, he's good, but is he good enough? Maybe not. I don't know. And then, I'd say Bills and the Bucks are right up there at the top. You can't count the Bucks out. I mean, they're inconsistent in the run game as well, which I think it could be problematic. Fournette popped off this week. He led running backs in fantasy points, but then there's some weeks where he has like 20 yards and that's all they have on the ground. So I don't know. Right now, I'd say the Bills, but I think you'll see some of these teams drop off and take a couple losses, and then you'll see some of them end up with 1 or 2 losses at the end of the year. Not the Cowboys though. They're going to drop a couple games.
We'll see. All right, let's move on to the Week 7 locks. Lucas has suffered 2 straight losses in his locks. He's at 2-4. Me and Camden are both at 3-3. This is Camden's first lock of the week win since Week 2.
Needed that.
Me, on the other hand, I've got 3 wins in a row, looking to continue with 4. I'll start off here. I like the Bengals plus 6.5 versus the Ravens. I know better than anybody else that these AFC North battles are always intense. They are close, and I think the Bengals are a good enough team where they're going to be competing with the Ravens in this game here. So I think this one's pretty easy. If it loses, I think it'll be by 7 points. But my lock of the week will be Bengals 6.5 versus the Ravens. Lucas, to bounce back here.
I think I just messed up my contact.
Oh, no.
Oh, all right. I'm 2-4.
We might need to get the specs out.
I'm all right. One-eyed podcasting on hard mode here. I'm 2-4 coming into week 7. I mean, last week I bet on the Dolphins, of course, minus 3.5 against the Jaguars. I'm thinking, of course, that they're going to beat the Jaguars by more than 3, and they lose. So this week I'm taking the Niners minus 3.5 against the Colts. I don't think the Colts are good enough yet. They're just not settled in. I mean, they beat the Texans last week, 31-3, and I mean, whenever you play the Texans, you're going to look good, and they did. But
2 wins, right?
Yeah, I believe they're 2-4.
Okay.
But they just didn't show enough to me against the Texans. They didn't look terrible the week before against the Ravens. Only lost by 6, and I mean, of course, in overtime. So I think they've looked all right, but I just don't think they've got enough. The Niners are coming off a bye week. I think that some teams come out lagging after a bye week, and some teams use that bye week to really energize them. I think Shanahan's going to have this Niners team where he wants them. I think they're going to be a team that uses the bye week to their full advantage.
Yep.
And
comes out of involved.
Yeah, get Trey Lance involved. I think they're going to come out of it stronger than they went into it. And I got the Niners minus 3.5 against the Colts.
I love that pick. Camden?
I like that. Yeah, the Niners are 2-3 right now. I don't know if that's who your the record. The Colts are.
I think they're 2-4.
Colts are 2-4. Yeah. My lock of the week. I'm 3-3. I got to get back in the over 500 column here, so I'm going with a kind of a safe bet here. I'm taking the Seahawks Saints under 43.5. Both offenses got to figure stuff out. Geno Smith is just not it. They weren't even letting him throw the ball there in the second half against the. I mean, they didn't need to because Alex Collins looked like prime Marshall Faulk there in the second half. But I mean, yeah, their offense just is not good enough, and then New Orleans just doesn't have the weapons for Jameis Winston. So I think that one goes under 43.
I'm not a fan of this one at all. I think
just because I'm hating on your boy Jameis.
No, Yeah, that's part of it, but I also think the Saints defense isn't anything special, and they got DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett out there.
It's Geno Smith, man.
I don't care.
They weren't even letting him throw.
Yeah, but against the Saints, it was against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, this is the New Orleans Saints defense compared to the Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
They still put up 20.
Yeah. It almost hit the over. I think the over for this one was 43.5 as well, and I think the final score was
43.
Yeah, 43. So it just hit the under. Yeah. And I think in this one, you're going against this Saints team who's not that good. They are coming off the bye week, so I think Jameis will be able to get it going a little more. But also, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, you don't think they're going to be able to score?
Back too.
Carson might be back as well.
Carson might be coming back. I don't know. Also,
I'm not a fan. No hate, but I'm not a fan.
Not a fan of Chris Carson?
Not a fan of the under 43.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see.
No hate, no hate.
We'll see.
I think Geno Smith, this was his first start. I think he's going to be able to get a little bit more comfortable. So, I don't know, Cam. That's an interesting pick, but we'll check it out. You got to get over 500, so we'll see about it. But I think that wraps it for us, fellas. This has been episode 7.5, season 2 of the North Shore Station. Shout out to the boys. Keep up with us on our socials. Twitter at North Shore Pod. Yep. Instagram at, I don't know.
I think it's at North
Shore Station, something like that. Follow us. Give us a like on Spotify. Give us a rating. I don't know if Spotify even does ratings. Apple Music, Apple Podcasts.
Hit us up on everything. TikTok.
Hit us up on everything. Follow us on TikTok. Thanks for coming. Look out for us next week. Might be getting a big guest on, so look out for more content from your boys. Thanks.
Let's go. Go Steelers.